Okay, so there's two ways that you can do a value scale. You can go light to dark or dark to light. I prefer working light to dark because I'm left-handed and I drag my hand, so that's just what I do. However, if you're right-handed, you probably want to start dark here, so it doesn't matter. But for this demo, I'm going to do it my way, so you can do it any way you like. So you want to have a really sharp ebony pencil for this, and it is best if you do it with ebony. If you don't have an ebony pencil, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure you have a sharp pencil, and make sure it's, at least an HB. Mechanical pencils are not, they're not really a good idea. So what I'll do here is I will try to go as lightly as possible, and I'm not going to worry about going outside of the lines at all. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go outside my lines from here or there. And I'm just going to continue to do that same continuous pressure on the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So I'm just doing a light pressure all the way through. There's lots of ways that you can do this. Make sure that your surface that you're drawing on is fairly smooth. If you have a lot of rough surfaces that you're going to go over, it's going to pick up texture. So just make sure that you're, on a smooth surface. So I like to at least do a light, sorry it keeps flashing. I keep trying to figure out how to fix that. I'm not sure how to do that. So at any rate, I'm going from my lightest to dark now. So at this point, I'm just going to start to go a little bit darker by putting just another layer of that on. And so if you think about it like layers, here's another layer, and then here's another layer. So I have 4 layers. I have 1 layer here, I have 2 layers here, I have 3 layers there rather, right? So I have 1 layer, now I'm going to do 2 layers, a 3rd layer, a 4th layer. Okay, now I'm going to do 5 layers here. 1, 2, this is my 2nd layer. This is my 3rd layer. This is my 4th layer. And now that's my 5th layer. Same thing here, I'm going to do 6 layers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm pressing harder now. 6. Okay, you're going to see it start to get kind of shiny as you press harder on it. And I have a little bit of a textural approach here. That's okay. All right, so same thing here now. I'm going to do 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm pressing hard now. 6, 'Try not to break my pencil lead. And my last one, 7. That is actually a pretty decent value scale. I could probably smooth this out just a little bit because it did pick up some texture, so I'll just do that. If you want to be a real neat freak, you can, clean it up. I think neatness matters, so take the time and do what you can to make it fairly presentable. Just keep in mind, it's just a value scale. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're showing evidence that you're going from light to dark. I might do this first one over again, though. Because that first one does count. And you could do just a super graze on that very first one because I think that you should have at least a little bit of tonality there. Okay, so that's your first one. The second one is going to be hatching. And I'm sorry, this is just not, this light bulb is just too bright, I think. I don't know. That's a little better there. Okay. If you can't see a difference between one to another, you can take the time and actually kind of, push it a little bit further. I can see it from here okay, but it's pretty subtle. So I might just take the time and darken this one a little bit more. I could probably go for almost like a true black on this last one. And I can definitely go darker here too. So you might find that doing the 7 to 8 layers is not perfect technique, but it's a good way to start. And then you can kind of go back and finesse those so that they look a little bit slower of a gradation. That's better. You should definitely see a difference between one to the next. Okay? All right, so next up we're going to do hatching. I'm not going to do the first one, the second one. And notice that when I shade, I'm doing this in a diagonal direction. I am not going up and down. I'm not going side to side. And I'm not doing scribble scrabbles. That's important to notice. You have more control with your physical body going this way. It always looks superior to doing this because this is not a natural movement, nor is this a natural movement as much as moving your body in a diagonal approach. So you're using your body to your advantage if you use that diagonal approach. So I'm doing very light hatch marks there. And I'm just basically creating a higher pressure there, a darker pressure as I go. It's going to be very similar. But what you're going to start to see happen is that through hatching with this ebony pencil is that it's going to start to fill in. So you're going to find yourself going over it in layers like you did with the other one. So I don't really space out my hatch line marks, but you could do that. That's another way of doing it. I just layer them more as I build up tonality into the darker tones. I press harder. Now with the ebony pencil, it's going to go pretty quick. This would take a lot longer with a ultra fine tip Sharpie. Now, since we want this to be built up pretty dark, this one's going to be essentially completely filled. So you're still going to see the lines happening here, and you can see there's not much of a difference between this one, and this one, so that's why I'm coming back and I'm just making it darker on the end, pushing that darkness here, really dark over here. And essentially that's the approach, and you just take your time to, make it more so. So over here we're going to do cross hatching. Cross hatching is going to be the same thing. It's just the more you layer it, the more dense it's going to become. So it's just a matter of going over it a couple of times. So I did the second one 2 times. I did the first one 1 time. I'll do this one 3 times. And you could do that same approach with the one above it. I didn't really do that, but you could. So that's 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And it's starting to build up. This will be 4 times. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Okay, I could probably darken this one up just a little bit. I find it much easier to build cross-hatching up fast and dark because you're doing what naturally the lead likes to do, is to layer over itself. I don't want to stain my sweater. I've lost track, but it looks right to me. Looks a little darker. Maybe I'll go just a smidge darker. Start to see less of the spaces in between. It's that time of day when my phone just rings on and on and on and on with nonsense. Okay, so that's twice. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At this point, I really should have a paper guard. So once again, using that diagonal approach is easy, it's fast, it'll just be a superior mark making technique than not doing it. I will take points off if you don't use the diagonal approach. And I've lost track, but I know it's not dark enough, so I'm going to keep going. I want this last one to be pretty black. I don't want to see really any white at all if I can get around it, and I'm pressing harder and harder as I go. There. And there we have it. We have 3 different value scales of a tonal one using the side of your pencil, the hatched one, and the cross-hatched one. Okay, so make sure you label it, and you're good to go. You can also erase it and make it neater if you like, but it's not totally important that you do that.